What's up, everybody? Rantman here. And tonight, I want to talk about the leadership problem because I don't feel like we're being led in the right direction. And I don't just mean the GOP Republicans, I mean the Democrats as well, because there are a lot of them that can't really relate to us. Now, how are we supposed to truly be led by people who can't relate to us? The disconnect from the people in power to we the people is ridiculous. When did any of these people in power ever have to live on a budget? It's no wonder they can't handle the nation's budget. When did these people have to wonder if they could afford gas to get to the job that they work to support their families? When did they have to choose between feeding their families or paying a bill? When did they ever have to run the heat or air conditioning a little less so that they could suffer through the heat or the cold just to battle energy costs? When have they ever worried about their home foreclosing because they couldn't afford their mortgage? How can people like this represent us when they can't even relate to us? When they have never experienced real struggle in their lives? Let me throw some numbers at you here. Donald Trump, President of the United States, is worth, ready for this, $6.5 billion with a B dollars. What? Our Vice President, J.D. Vance, is worth $12 million. Our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is worth $1 million. Our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, is worth somewhere between 1.5 to 4 billion. Scott Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, he's worth $500 to $600 million. Even Pete Hegseth is worth $3 million. Todd Blanche is worth somewhere between $2 and $7 million. Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior, between $100 million and $1.1 billion. That's a big gap, but still a lot of money. Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, $15 million. RFK, our Health Secretary, Human Services, $15 to $30 million. Scott Turner, Secretary of HUD, between $1 and $18 million. Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, worth $5 million. Chris Wright, the Secretary of Energy, somewhere between $100 and $171 million. Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education, is worth $3 to $3.2 billion. Doug Collins, Secretary of Veteran Affairs, is worth $1 to $2 million. Mark Wayne Mullen, the Secretary of Homeland Security, he's worth between $60 and $66 million. Even good old Kash Patel is worth $6 million. There's only one person in this administration, these cabinet positions, that's not worth millions or billions of dollars. All of these people that I just listed are millionaires or billionaires. How many of us are anywhere close to millionaires? Even close to a million? No. Keith Sonderling, the Secretary of Labor, he is the only one that's not worth a full million or more. He's worth $288,000 to $820,000, in that range. Now, I said Democrats as well. Let's talk about some of our former presidents here. Barack Obama is worth between $70 and $100 million. Joe Biden is worth $10 million. Bill and Hillary Clinton together, they're worth $120 million. And even George Bush is worth $40 million, and his daddy was worth $23 million when he passed. Meanwhile, you have some Democrats like Maxwell Frost. He is an example of what really represents the people. Because, little thing here about Maxwell Frost, he's a Democratic representative in the House, and he got elected, and he basically put himself in debt with his campaign to the point where he couldn't afford an apartment in DC. And he had a company or somebody that was willing to pay for the apartment and him living it rent free, and he said no. He turned it down because it wouldn't be ethical. That is what we need more of in our Congress. That is what we need more of in our Senate. That is what we need more of in our government, period. Let me throw some more numbers at you here, okay? The National Average Wage Index says that the average American, all of us lumped together outside of that 1%, average wage is $69,846 a year. $69,000 a year. Add that up for a decade, and you're somewhere in the range of our lowest person in power. Somebody with a high school graduate, or even less, which is 49.3% of the workforce. Almost half of the American workforce has a high school graduate or less. They average $49,556. Somebody with a bachelor's degree, that's 44% of the workforce. They average about $83,000. And then some people with an advanced degree that make up the rest of it, their average is around $101,972 a year. So even the people with the advanced degrees that now have a bunch of debt as a result of it, they are averaging $100,000 a year. And about 5 to 6% of the workforce only has a GED. They average around 48,000. And people with no diploma, period, which is about 11 to 12% of the workforce, only makes 38,000 a year. So if you count high school or no college workers that are 25 or older, the kids that are like not including the kids in part-time jobs or anything like that, you just go 25 and older, that is 56.9. That's like 57% of the workforce. So 57% of the workforce, more than half, isn't even making $50,000 a year. How is that a livable wage in these times? And yet, the people who are making the decisions, the people who are controlling the costs of inflation and affecting the gas and oil and fertilizer and just ruining not just the American people, but the world's lives right now, those people are continuing to profit off of us because they have taken their millions and billions of dollars and invested them in companies because they're using insider trading. And you can't just limit it to the Republicans and the GOP, because there's some Democrats out there that are dipping in that same knowledge and they're using it to their advantage. Congress should not be able to have money market accounts. They shouldn't be allowed to have any stocks or any crypto or anything like that. And if they do, once they start their term, they can either sell it or they can leave it and not touch it for the entire time they're in Congress. As long as they're in Congress, they're not allowed to touch that fund, those accounts. They can sit there and work. They can continue to grow or drop or whatever, but they can't touch it. Because I don't want to say that they can't invest on their way up or whatever, might help them with funds for campaigning and whatnot, but to say that they get to have that information that they get before us, the security clearance and stuff like that, and then go play the market knowing what's about to happen, that's not okay, period, at any level of government, whether it be the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, or the executive branch. It doesn't matter. That's not okay. Because when we have people, like, look at the president. He has never He's shat on a gold toilet his entire life. He has basically just had everything handed to him, including lawsuits and failed businesses, but he has had everything handed to him, as have a lot of these other people that are in power. They have inherited money. And the key word here is wealth, because there is a difference between having money, being rich, living off of an income, or getting by barely or not at all, compared to wealth. Wealth is generational. Wealth gets handed down from generation to generation and continues to profit. Because when you have that much money to put into a bank and let it continue to get compound interest, all you're doing is continuing to profit. And it's just stupid that they have that much money. Like, what do they even need that much money for? What does one person or one small group of people need to control more of the money in the world than the rest of the world? Elon is a trillionaire now. Elon Musk is now a trillionaire with a T. Are you kidding me? Why does one man need that much money? Our government is trillions in debt and continuing to rack it up more and more and more, with billions and billions of dollars being spent on an unnecessary war that nobody wants. Not just us, not just Iran. We don't want it. They don't want it. But the rest of the world doesn't want it, because look at how it's affecting them. And then the president's in the office, basically just losing his mind, literally spouting out all kinds of stupid shit. The administration has told the Iranians not to take Donald's posts as, word. They say basically he's just shooting off his mouth, whatever. Don't listen to it. That's sad. That's okay. Keeps falling asleep. Tax reporters, when they ask him a tough question, or just a question that people want an answer to, period, and don't let him just go off on his wild rhetorics, he blows his top. How is that okay? He gets to go see all these medical specialists, 22 doctors, and saw him, and he got a great bill of health. That's insane. That's unheard of. None of the other presidents, even him in his first term, none of them have ever had that many specialists give them an exam. That's insane. He's falling asleep in the middle of the day. Limited schedule, not even a full day schedule. He does a few events and briefings and makes appearances, whatever, here and there, has meetings in the war room and whatnot, but it's kind of starts in the afternoon into the evening, and then that's it. And then he's still drifting off in the middle of those because he's up all night posting stupid AI pictures and making all kinds of crazy accusations and claims that make absolutely no sense. And then these people are supposed to be leading us. They are representatives to the rest of the world that make the laws that affect us, that don't affect them or do in a positive manner. Just a little personal history. I finished high school, went to FSU, got into a little trouble, had a little too much fun up there, and as a result ended up in a position to where I wasn't on campus anymore in the dorms, and I didn't really have any money or a place to go, so I was essentially homeless. Luckily for me, I had a friend who had an empty bed over the summer because the roommate that he was scheduled for the whole year went home for the summer and said, yeah, you can, crash, whatever, it's already paid for, whatever. Saved up a little money, got a place, whatever. I am married and have 4 kids. We have pets. We have all of this. I'm the sole income of that. So we live on a tight budget, and there is that financial struggle for us. And we're not the only ones. There are a lot of people out there like us. As 3 of our kids who are in school are now not getting a free breakfast and a free lunch. They are now home using up more electricity throughout the day. They eat more food. And the temperature just continues to go up. We're in June. We're like mid-June-ish. July and August are the worst. They're the hottest months of the year. We're just getting started. Last month, my electric bill was over $400 for the month of May. Over $400. I can only imagine what it's going to be for July and August. We can't afford this stuff. A lot of people out there can't afford this stuff. We're going to have to start cutting costs to make do. And this is because the people in power are making all these decisions for us, and none of them are affecting us positively. So why do we continue to allow these people to represent us? Why do we continue to elect these people just because it's programmed into our brains that this is how it goes? Screw them. Let's get some people in there that can truly represent like us, that can truly relate to us. I want to see somebody in office that spent a few years not sure if they were going to make bills or whatnot because their paychecks barely covered, and even then they had to let some things go to get, do I eat lunch today or do I have gas to get to and from work? Like that kind of stuff. I want to see some politicians who have lived through that, who have slept nights in their cars, who have had to use a sick day because it was a day away from payday and you didn't have money for gas to get to the job. I want to see people who have had to cut their budget just so that they can afford to have something else that they need. I want to see them grow up in a not so great neighborhood because it was the only housing they could afford. I want to see them represent. I want to see them coming from multiple family homes, having to grow up sharing a bedroom, having to get a job at 14, like I did, so that you could save up money to be able to have a car that you have to buy. And if you wanted a phone, you have to pay for it. Like, I want to see people work to actually earn what they get. People who fight to get in office, that don't take money from PACs or even businesses, big investors. I want to see people who continue to do this grassroots funding where the people support them. Because if we had those kind of people in office, we would have a little extra money to be able to support them during these elections. But right now, so many of us, the people who really need to vote for them, the people who really need them to make the changes that make our lives better, we can't really donate to them because the people who are in there now have screwed us over so bad that we can't really afford anything. You know, I was milk for a while. I'd go to Walmart and the price of milk was under $3, like $2.89, something like that. Family of 6 of us, we go through a lot of milk. Now it's $3.44 a gallon. And yeah, that's just milk. It's like 50 cents, a little over 50 cents, whatever. But when you're buying multiple gallons a week, and when every other expense, all the other groceries you get, ground beef, all that stuff, it adds up. It becomes a lot more of a grocery bill with a lot less groceries. Few tips. Ground turkey is significantly cheaper than ground beef. So substitute turkey for beef. That'll help. We've done that with tacos and spaghetti. The kids love it. It's one way to save a little bit of money. Go to the off brands if you're not already on them. We are. Great Value. That's the brand. it's sad that we live in Florida. We could make a day trip to Disney and not have to pay for a hotel, whatever, but we can't even afford to get into the park or to park because it's like $200 to over $200 a ticket. And that shouldn't be like, they shouldn't be able to charge that much. These businesses shouldn't be able to do so much to make it so hard for families to live and have comfort. Like, let's go back to the days where there was a middle class, where there was livable wages, where one person could support a household and not have to worry about if you're going to make enough and how much everything costs, and balancing a budget to the point where you're having to give up basic amenities just to get by. Let's not bring back the racism and all the other bad stuff that came from those times back in like the 40s, 50s, 60s. Let's just 70s. Let's just go back and get that, where you could buy a house, where you could have a family, and you could have your kids go to school and have money to send them off to summer camp or play in extracurricular sports or take them on a vacation somewhere, because the cost of living wasn't so razor thin with the income that you're getting, or even out of balance to the point where you're not treading above water. Credit card debts just continue to climb. People are going further and further into debt because they can't afford, they're already on a tight budget. It's scary to think that there are people out there that are driving on bad tires, or they're driving in a car that's not really safe because they can't afford the bill to go pay for the mechanic to fix their car, and they're driving with their kids in the car. It's scary to think about the fact that some of these people are going to be basically suffering through the summer because they can't afford to air condition their homes. And that's brutal in Florida. Brutal summertime. The humidity, the rain, the insects. Like, you can't just have your windows open all day. Like, you're going to get rain. When you close them, it's going to be very stuffy and hot and muggy. And there's just, when you're cutting health benefits and they're cutting SNAP and they're cutting all these things that help the people who already weren't getting by on their own, and now you're going to raise the prices of everything and take away that assistance, people aren't going to be able to get by. I think they're playing a game like, let's just see how far we can push the American people, how much we can piss them off and benefit ourselves. Because when this is over, they just get to go back to their happy little homes and play with their little Yorkie purebred puppies. And I'm not, no bashing Yorkies or people who have purebred dogs. I'm just saying, like, that's what I picture. They get to go home to their big, beautiful house that's nice and air conditioned, with a fridge full of groceries, a pantry full of groceries. Just plop down on their nice luxury couch, turn on the TV. Their kids all come from their individual rooms that are bigger than most people's master bedroom. They get to go sit on their nice little patio and smoke a cigar and sip on some cognac and, you know, just live the life and kick back. Meanwhile, the rest of us are struggling, and they just continue to pad their bank accounts more and more with all this interest and wealth that they already have. They don't represent us. All they do is screw us over. They don't care about us. None of them. We need more people like Maxwell Frost. People who want to that want to get into Congress and be a part of it to do better, to help us, to make a difference in the way it should be. We need more people like that have the ethics and the morals to say no when somebody tries to give them something for free, knowing that it's not really for free, because now they're going to say, well, I gave you a place to live, so when this bill comes around, you got to scratch your back, you scratch mine, We don't need any of that. I think they shouldn't even have to look for an apartment. They should have an apartment complex for senators and Republicans. And when they take office, while they're in DC, they go, and that's where they stay. And that's that. That should be there's your home. There you go. You have a place to stay here. And it should be paid for by the government, not by themselves and all the money they're making off the markets, not by some company that wants to fund it, whatever. Take away all of these opportunities for corruption, and you'll see results. We got to get this scum that's in office, these people, if you call them people, that don't care about us and only care about themselves and their banks. We need to get them out of power. We need to do it sooner than later. We need to get more people in with the kind of integrity that Frost has. Because we can't keep going down the path we're going right now. We're at a dead end. It's either stay here and rot and suffer, or turn around and go back and find a better way. And that's what we need to do. Because things can't really get a whole lot worse. I mean, they can get worse, but they don't need to get any worse. They need to start getting better. We need to change. Let's make sure that we're paying attention to what these people running for Congress and Senate in the midterms are saying. The people who are constantly pointing their fingers at the other side, and all they have to do is make up things like they were doing with old Tallarico in Texas, saying he's trans and he's vegan and he's gay or whatever. Like, who cares? He's out there preaching about his plan and what he wants to do and what he wants to get done when he gets elected. Meanwhile, this other dude, Paxton, and all his people are just trying to smear him and make him look dumb. But apparently he's a preacher. He's got a longtime girlfriend. He's a 8th or 9th generation Texan who has eaten beef all his life and loves barbecue. So what else you got? And they're not really talking about the politics because they don't want to talk about what they're going to do because it's not good for us. It's corrupt. I might have to do another episode on this because this is one of those things that gets me going, and I can go for hours, and I'm not going to do that. We need to make a change. We got to get people in that have integrity, people that have lived through struggle, people that truly relate to us and what we go through every day. Because people who have never had to live can never truly live through these struggles or any struggles. They can never truly relate to the people they represent. Instead of relating to our struggles, they're just going to continue to cause more of them. Let's take America back. This is our country. Stop letting these people that can't relate to us rule us. Take America back. Till next week, I'm Rant Man.